I'll wait for you to walk over
Wait
here.
for him to walk over. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, mic on. Yep, this one's a little more behind the scenes than usual.
Yeah, just a little bit.
A little bit.
Just
So,
a little
hello everybody. We're my mouse isn't working.
Did it get unplugged?
I don't know. I'll go deal with it in a second. So, you want to introduce yourself, Charlie?
Yes, I'm Charlie. I'm the Guiding Ohio Learning Coach here at the Madison Public Library. One walking away and trying to fix current problems is Sean. Everyone should know Sean by now.
Emerging Services and Technologies Librarian.
Yes, if the mic picked that up at all.
I don't think it did.
Yeah, probably not. But once we get the mouse settled, I think we'll be good to start. Hopefully.
Yeah. So it's plugged in.
Is there a daisy chain of USBs?
There it
Oh,
is. It was just
I heard
loose.
it.
Yeah, it was just loose.
Probably yanked on it at one point, never realized.
Yeah. Let's see.
There we go.
All right. So let's get my mic back on. So sorry about the delay there. We've been found by Morgan. Yay.
Yeah.
So yes, my name is Sean Walsh, Emerging Services and Technologies Librarian. And normally we have in the studio either our friends Morgan or Allison. Morgan is out. She is part of one of the high school robotics teams, and so she's been doing a lot of stuff with them. And our friend Allison is currently behind the building right now. She is our cross country and track star, and I think her event is happening right now. So I'd like to say a big go Allison go for her and the rest of the Madison boys and girls track team. And a shout out to Team Athena, which is the robot team that Morgan is part of. So, all right. So if you've never watched this before, we talk about technology news, but we also take your questions in the chat. We are live on a lot of different platforms, I hope. That's going to be the funny thing is checking it, make sure we are live. And yes, it looks like we are live officially. So sorry about that, guys. All right. So if you have any questions, feel free to put it in the chat and we'll answer them at any time. And let's go ahead and get started, Charlie.
Yeah.
You want to lead off with a story?
I can try. Hold on.
All right.
No, I'm not going to start with that one. Why did I start with that? Yeah, easy one.
Okay.
So, Meta in Messenger
And Messenger.
is now adding 14 free games that you can play over video calls inside Messenger.
Okay.
I don't know why video calls and
Because you want to see the other person
Retrospect,
when you
guess.
play against them.
I mean,
don't know.
it's like
Interesting.
iMessage. Like iMessage has those iMessage games. You don't have to be in a video chat for
No.
those.
I used to play chess in the Facebook chat,
Mhm.
and you just had to know certain commands, and you could literally play chess against someone in the Messenger chat.
Yeah, but it seems like
And they depreciated that, which is ironic.
Yeah.
Bet you they don't have chess.
Oh, probably not. That's probably like one of the games they don't have. It seems like a lot of like actual card games. I see Exploding Kittens as one of them.
Some more
Spyfall.
modern stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, Spyfall.
Stuff we play here with the teens.
Yeah, occasionally.
Who had board games in the past? Was it Yahoo? Yeah, Yahoo had a bunch of those built in for a long time. Yahoo had some. AOL was doing some before the end of AOL Instant Messenger.
Yeah, but Words with Friends, which was actually I think a Facebook game beforehand.
Yeah.
Anyway,
I roll because
mini golf.
Why would you need to
obviously,
see the other
Exploding
person for the
Kittens.
word for friends? Yeah.
Exactly. I mean,
I do like some of those games.
yeah,
I
like
mean, I play
Exploding
them.
Kittens is actually kind of fun.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's all tied into your Meta Messenger.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting.
And I don't
Meta
know
Messenger.
Yeah.
I'm still, I'm gonna
we're
still
still getting over the whole Facebook going to Meta sort of thing.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah, it happens.
Yeah. So, all right. Well, that's interesting. Definitely interesting.
Yeah.
So I figured I'm going to make a nearly permanent segment for us
Oh,
where we talk about ChatGPT and everybody else.
oh boy, we're talking about AI every second.
Yeah, I think so. I think so at this point. So read recently that Walmart, LinkedIn, and a bunch of other places have either integrated the GPT-4 into their stuff or are starting to write stuff to hook into it. Walmart's GPT would be pretty interesting for product recommendations, stuff like that. I wouldn't be surprised where Amazon is at with theirs. Google has their competitor called Bard, and I had to look up the Microsoft one because I couldn't figure out what the name was because it's not Cortana.
It's
Copilot. Copilot. Yeah.
I don't know why they just didn't stick with Cortana.
I think they should go back to Cortana. It's a gaming reference, but it didn't. If you didn't know about Halo, you didn't hurt. You know. So more and more entities are figuring out a way to hook up into some sort of AI. It's kind of funny. Siri and Alexa and a bunch of those. I mean, these are our precursors. And Cortana itself. Yeah. And people are like, well, yeah, those failed. No, they were the beginnings. They were the seedlings for this. And, interestingly enough, Italy blocked ChatGPT as a country.
I was like, there's a few countries starting
privacy
to get into,
concerns. We were both reading, and I know there's another tech person on right now. So we were both reading a cool story where someone convinced ChatGPT to generate a Windows 95 installation key, because there's a code to create
ethics
that
code.
Yeah, built into it. So they figured out how to get past the ethics code, because theoretically ChatGPT should be able to generate a key code for any app, as long as it knows the basic parameters. So yes, if you need to install Windows 95, you may be able to convince ChatGPT to give you an installation code. That's breaking a whole bunch of rules and whatnot, but
ethics
rules and I think some legal copyright rules. So it's pretty fascinating.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like ChatGPT is definitely jumping a little bit faster than I was expecting, but I'm not going to worry about that too much right now.
Yeah. So I think we're going to have a daily conversation about ChatGPT. I mean, there's a bunch of people who are talking about slowing down the research, and I find it fascinating. It's all people in companies that don't have much connection to this. They're behind. So like Elon and Twitter.
Yep.
And I'm trying to think of some of the other companies that all are saying, whoa, slow down. Every single one of them does not have a dog in this race.
So I find it fascinating. Been lost on Facebook.
I lost you on Facebook. I see me on Facebook. We're still here, so.
I mean, clearly we're still here.
Yep, she joined back in on YouTube, but I can see us running.
But
so 2 people are watching us officially.
Yeah, no, that was the one thing I did see.
We got a question. So so what was the one thing we'll finish up our thought and then we'll jump on the question.
It was along the lines of like Elon and everyone else were like, hey, slow down. We're like, no.
Yeah.
Essentially.
I think the genie's out of the bottle. And some of these tech companies either got to jump in or keep going.
Yeah. Which at this point, just go for it.
Yeah.
Because you could easily just improve on someone else's thing eventually.
Exactly. Most of this stuff is open. So
yeah.
Okay. Morgan's question is, I have a question. What should I look for in a smart TV, or should I buy a non-smart TV and get a Roku?
It's almost hard to find a TV without smart stuff in it anymore.
I think it's pretty rare. I'm not a fan of smart TVs because of limited memory and limited storage space. And so most people's TVs, they keep them around for a while. And so apps get depreciated, and then that app is no longer functional on the TV. I've seen some smart TVs that have literally outlived the apps that are built into them.
Yeah.
Because the companies don't have those apps anymore. They've folded or whatever. So majority of the apps are non-functional.
Yeah.
Or you end up with something like Netflix. Netflix doesn't, came out on the Wii, and that was the coolest thing ever. It was like one of the first.
Yeah.
Netflix.
You had to order the disc and download it. I remember that.
Yeah. But when it came out, it was spectacular. The Wii they can't support the Wii anymore. So
Oh, yeah.
anybody who was using the Wii for Netflix can't use it
Well,
anymore.
because Nintendo dropped support for it years ago.
Yeah,
but
exactly.
Netflix still held support for it for a long time.
For a long
after
time,
that, yeah.
So that's my thing. I'm not a big fan of the smart TVs themselves. I find that they depreciate too quickly. I am a fan of things like a Roku, which is a kind of an agnostic device. I've noticed now Apple TV is available on a Roku, which is a pretty big coup. I think I mentioned this the last time we were talking. Apple TVs are good. Fire Sticks are good. It's based on where you have your collection at. If you already own a Apple device, then an Apple TV may be for you because you still have access to your other Apple content, iTunes content or whatever. Same thing as if you are a big Amazon user. Fire Stick is the way for you to go because you have all your content locked up there. Google, things like that. I personally use Roku's because I did want to go agnostic, and so I wanted to be able to load different apps from different places.
Yeah.
So I'm still a big fan of them. I helped a friend do an install on their house, and when they cut the cord, they still wanted to have broadcast television. And so what we ended up going with is an Amazon solution because Amazon has, I think it's called the Fire Home. I never get the name right. You hook your antenna to it, and then it to your network, and then it streams out the broadcast from the antenna to all your Fire Sticks in the house.
Oh, that's cool.
So you mount that. It doesn't matter where it is in the house, okay? As long as the antenna and it has electricity and connects to your wireless, it can be anywhere. You can even literally have it in your attic, okay? It sends down out, and you know how you've got your channel bars of different like apps or whatever? There's another one that gets added on the Fire Stick listing. And it's literally all of your local TV stations.
Oh, that's cool.
Whatever your antenna can pick up. It will then list them and show live, and you can then, it does have a DVR built into it. So you can DVR and schedule recordings from your antenna. So that was a great solution for her because she didn't have content locked up anywhere. So she wasn't losing anything. And so we ended up doing, three TVs in her house. And now she has basically broadcast on all of those, plus all of her streamers. And then she ended up really liking some of the offerings from Amazon because they have some pretty good offerings. They've partnered with PBS. And so those went really well for her.
I've been a big Fire Stick person, at least in my house, especially with the Amazon.
That's what my mom has,
So
I put that.
I've never used a Roku. I have the TV that I bought does have Roku on it, but I barely use it. I just go straight to the stick that I have.
Really, I mean, to me, the Roku is a better solution, or something, not the Roku itself, but like a agnostic device or another device than the smart TV. The other thing is you can take your Roku, Apple TV, Google, what's the thing? What's the Google? I can't remember what it's called now. Chromecast, thank you.
Yes.
Chromecast, Fire Stick with you where you go places.
I found that to be a really cool travel thing.
Yeah.
You just take the Fire Stick with the power cable, and then most of the time you can find an open power cable and then the back of a TV, and then you can usually plug it in. Now, some places have their TVs kind of like locked against the wall, and you can't do much about it. But like some of the places that I typically stay, they all have like the small little LGs. So you just plug it in through the back and then plug it into the wall.
My friend travels for
work. It's a nice entertainment system now.
My friend travels for work, and so he takes his with him. So all his channels are there, whatever he needs. When my group of friends would go on vacation, we would take a Roku with us and then literally have everything we needed. We didn't have to worry about if the TV had any kind of stations or whatever. And the cool thing is, with your Fire Stick, the streaming channels follow the Fire Stick. And so you can watch your antenna wherever you go.
Oh, okay.
That's pretty cool.
That's cool.
Yeah. So, theoretically, you could watch a local Guardians, Browns, or whatever, say you're a snowbird living in Florida. And you can watch your locals as long as your TV, as long as your house has power, which I'll talk about later. So Morgan, I hope that answered your question. It's a roundabout answer, but I think my overall feeling is use a separate device. What do you, Charlie? You about the same?
Yeah, I'm about the same.
Yeah.
Even if the TV comes with,
most of them come with something built in.
Anymore You can buy ones with Fire on it. You
Yeah.
can buy ones. I don't think Apple TV has integration yet, but
They are, yeah.
are they working
Yeah.
on it though?
No, they've got some
Oh, they
companies
do?
that partner with them. I
Okay.
can't remember who it is, but yeah, it's built in.
But I know like Samsung typically goes with Google for their
Yeah.
stuff. There's a bunch of people that went with Fire. There's a bunch of them that went with
With
Roku.
Fire.
I mean, it just really depends. For the Vizio, okay.
Yeah, it's so slow. And that's the other thing. The processors are so slow in these TVs for the apps.
That's why I skip over using
Yeah.
the in
Yeah,
TV
yeah.
ones because it's just they just age so poorly and
Yeah.
it just does not.
And
go
I mean,
well.
the cost of a TV versus the cost of a streaming device. I mean,
yeah.
I can, $99 streaming device, and it's usually what I need.
40% of the time on Amazon, I can find the 4K version,
Mhm.
which has like HDR and everything else. Like the top of the line one,
Yeah,
$20.
Yeah.
It's crazy, and it's so easy to just plug in the TV and turn on.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah,
insane.
Yeah. So yeah, we're glad we got your question there. So appreciate that. We always love questions. So feel free to ask us questions at any time. And even after this is aired, if you put a question into the chat, we will see it, and we'll come back and answer you after the fact.
Exactly.
Our friend Margaret watches us after we air a lot of times, and will comment and ask questions and things. And so we appreciate that as well. One of our longtime viewers, viewers, Morgan and Margaret are longtime viewers. So you want to do another?
Let's see.
Yeah.
Well, this is just upgrading to
Upgrade your
OS
Android
3.
smartwatch. Well, we both wear smartwatches.
Yeah. Well, I have what Samsung one? I don't
You
know.
have a
if this
Samsung one?
Yeah, I have a Samsung one. You have
A Fossil? Yeah.
So-
it's ironic. I'm the older one. I wear a Fossil.
But yes, Google Wear OS 2 is on its way out,
Yeah.
and incoming is Wear OS 3.
Yes.
So this is kind of just talking about how you can
That
get
sounds
it,
more like a
how you can
question.
get to it.
Where OS 3?
Exactly. Where is it? 'Cause
Where is
it's
it?
Technically, I don't think it's technically out yet.
No, I don't think so.
It's still like a work in progress.
Yeah.
Everything else. But they are saying there's some issues with iOS stuff because it doesn't transfer some of the GPay stuff over.
Yay. Well, I don't use that
or
on my
wallet and
watch.
stuff.
Yeah.
I do, but
Do
I
you?
don't, well,
do you touch your watch too?
occasionally.
and
But like
things?
the thing is like I don't have it set up to just do that yet because
Yeah.
this one's supposed to be an LTE one. I don't have it set up to do
Ah.
LTE. I just have it set Bluetooth wise.
Yeah.
So I just typically use my phone for it.
Yeah.
But it'll be nice when I take it to amusement parks and I like to take.
Yeah.
But still, it's
it's going to cost you a lot more because
Oh,
it's a
I
lot
know.
easier to go, oh, look, I just paid for that, instead of like whipping out the card
Yeah.
or putting out the cash. Yeah. I mean, that's how the Disney Fast Packs are totally designed to make you
Mhm.
spend a bit more
oh
money.
yeah.
you know?
But yeah, no. So Wear OS is on the way, but it like I said, it is having some issues with like the pay for things between iOS and things.
Okay. Yeah, my friend does a lot of credit card processing and stuff. He works for a company and designs point of sale software. My understanding is a lot of that kind of code is extremely esoteric, even for like coding nerds like us. It is really far out there kind of stuff. Partially because of the security of credit cards and all that, and needing to support European and American standards and standards out of
Yeah.
Asia. But yeah, every time he talks about it, he just like, you can see his brain start to melt a little bit, because it's
Yeah.
just so messed up. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I always love
Yeah.
a new OS. I don't
Yeah, because I know Samsung will eventually tell me, "Hey, you have this update to do,"
yeah,
and I'll just be like, "Cool," and then I'll have no clue how to use Wear OS 3. and then I'll
Yeah.
have to
Where
learn all
OS
over
3?
again.
I still think it's a question.
I know it's such a weird name. It's just like where, because it's meant to be like you wear it, but no,
Yeah.
it sounds like where is it? Where is the OS? Tell me, please.
Forgot to post that we are live on my own Facebook
Mm.
page. Shame on me. All right.
Also, did
All
you
right.
hear that vinyl finally overtook CDs? sales?
I saw that, and I'm fascinated.
Yeah, the first time since 1987.
I was around in '87. Some of our viewers are definitely around from '87 because I know some of them. So wow.
Yeah. I mean, I have a friend that's a record head,
Yeah.
like terrible.
You
record
work with a
head.
record head.
Yeah.
He's sitting next to you.
Well, like, my friend's like crazy.
I'm not that bad. I'm
Yeah.
not bad.
He has like bins full
Yeah.
of like records and things.
One of my previous directors was a very 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 prolific collector, and I can remember going into his house and seeing he built this custom thing, but it was about the size of a milk crate.
Yeah.
This custom wall of vinyl.
Oh yeah.
And when I say wall of vinyl, it was probably 40 feet long and 10 feet high.
Wow.
And being a librarian, because he was a librarian, you know, he had, I mean, everything was in a music classification order. So there is for my library friends out there, you know what I'm talking about. The music classification, he had all of his records classified and tagged like that. Okay,
That's
so
crazy.
they had barcodes and then they had labels. He used an internal, I can't think of what it was. It's a system for keeping track of your records, but he he had extra barcode stickers, so we had that stuff laying around, and it was really fascinating. Though he was a huge fan of jazz, and so you know there was a smattering of other genres, but then like jazz was like this giant segment
section. Yeah.
and it was fascinating because he had jazz records like you know, stuff that I didn't even know it existed from people I knew. Like these really deep cuts and these imports from other places. Yeah. So it is fascinating that vinyl, I mean, as a person who likes music and is into music, you dump a lot of money into your equipment because it does matter if you have the gold cables when it's analog. But I do feel like vinyl has a warmer, richer sound, and I don't want to sound snobby like it. You know, it's like I just feel like it's got a better sound. I do, you know. But fascinating, but I will say I'm not a big fan of the picture discs. Those are the big things right now. Is the picture discs, which kind of look like CDs, basically just vinyl CDs. I feel like the material is different.
Yeah.
And again, I don't want to sound like a snob, but it sounds a little different when it's on the record player. I also noticed it messes with my the needle on the record record player a little bit differently.
Ooh,
yeah. I got a little more wear and tear out of the picture disc for some reason, and maybe it's just me. Maybe someone will comment that's also a vinyl person and tell me I'm wrong or whatever, and I'm good with that. But I just feel like I burn through, you know, needles and stuff a lot quicker that way. So.
I mean, streaming still overtakes.
Well, streaming,
all of
yeah,
them,
yeah.
But like physical is still at like an 11%.
Yeah, and
So
that
it's
may
just
be
crazy.
the thing. It's kind of ironic. Libraries got out of doing vinyl. I can remember the big purge where most of the libraries around me, you know, had weeded the vinyl, and it was the book sale. And I can remember just going through and just like, oh, I'm gonna have all of this stuff, and I purchased for like pennies, literally pennies. Like album after album after album, and original, you know, and I'm not talking like big old stacks of classical. I'm talking like a well-loved but still very good, you know, entire collection of everything that was awesome in the 80s.
Yeah.
I think I have a vinyl of, and some very iconic albums, you know, Thriller and stuff like that. I think I got the White Album, the Beatles White Album, and Abbey Road, and a couple other things. Yeah. All from a library, and they were actually untouched.
Oh wow! That's crazy.
Yeah. So yeah. So in the same vein, minimalist phones are on the rise. So they're also calling them dumb phones.
Like little to nothing going on with them, or
like you remember the Nokia bricks?
Yeah.
And flips.
Oh, we're talking about those.
Yeah. Gen Z is abandoning smartphones in droves for concerns about screen time and overstimulation and things like that, and mental health. So it's funny. So not your generation, but the generations coming after you is going back to flip phones. And they're interested in Blackberries.
Yeah.
I mean, like, I can remember Blackberries. I can remember Palm Pilots and all that.
Well, I remember,
you know,
didn't we have a story that BlackBerry was officially dead?
yeah, Blackberry is officially dead.
Yeah. So
Literally, they're
maybe
interested in the Blackberry again.
BlackBerry comes back in
BlackBerry comes
crazy
back.
rain.
Yeah, someone brings them back. I guess Nokia still makes the brick Nokia phone, the indestructible phone. I didn't realize they still made it.
I think in certain countries.
Certain
they make it,
countries?
so
They're trying to import them into the US. So the Nokia
Yes.
indestructible, because I had one of those as a work phone. It was indestructible because we pushed it hard. Yeah. So yeah, Gen Z, huge uptick in what they're calling dumb phones.
Yeah.
I like the term minimalist phones personally because
yeah, it sounds a little
they
bit
still
better.
text and they still do
Yeah.
other things, you know. They make texting a little easier. They're trying to go a little more keyboardy and less like click, click, click. Okay, that's capital A, click, 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 how I texted originally.
Yeah.
Some of you out there listening have suffered through the click, click, click. I got
Yeah,
the letter.
So they're
Click,
looking
click,
for
click,
more
and I
like,
got the letter.
They're almost like looking for like the sliders with the big
Yeah,
old
sliders are big.
keyboards.
Sliders are big. And
Yeah.
like I said, that's why they're interested in the BlackBerry because it had a full-size keyboard
Yeah.
of physical keys.
Oh yeah.
I will
knew
say
that.
I
Yeah.
loved the
My grandpa loved
the
those.
touch of one of those physical keys. I
Yeah.
liked that. It wasn't quite clicky keyboard fun,
Mhm.
but it was close.
Instead of the mushy kind of rubber
Yeah.
buttons.
Mhm.
Yeah, I can feel that.
Yeah. And recently, I unfortunately damaged my phone, so I'm on a replacement phone. So I'm a big fan of replacement plans. I found it really annoying because I had a cracked screen. And I kept running my finger over top of the crack, and I could
Mhm.
feel it. And when I needed to click or tap, it was always on the crack
Yeah.
spot of the phone. It was driving me nuts. So yeah, big props to the company that I use. I'm not going to say their name, but literally
The text phone language.
the text phone language. Yep. But props to my phone. I put in the request for
Yeah.
the replacement, and I had it the next day.
Oh, that's good.
What's taking me so long is transferring my entire life from one phone to another. First world problem. Trust me, first world
Oh
problem.
yeah.
But still annoying. Actually, it's really hard because I use a lot of two-factor authentication stuff,
Well,
and it all
that's-
lives on the old phone, and I have
yeah.
to transfer it, and I'm having trouble transferring some of it. Yep, old school text language is going to be fun seeing that come back. We're going to be elite. That's a deep cut old joke. All right, what
Oh,
else you got
boy.
there?
So we've talked about the Microsoft Blizzard acquisition stuff. on here
Yeah,
before,
it's still
right?
in weird zone.
But recently, UK regulators have sided with Microsoft
Really?
over it.
Really?
Yes, for the fact that what was it? I read this like a week or two ago.
Okay.
Now I can't remember half of the information,
All right.
but it was something along the lines of that they showed a model of how many exclusives PlayStation has,
Mm-hmm.
and then compared it to how many Microsoft has.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, obviously the number severely higher on a PlayStation
Yeah,
than it is
yeah,
on an Xbox. Because if you look at it, Microsoft opened up most of everything of their games up into, PC,
Yeah, yeah.
and opened it up.
Yeah,
for
they were
the
always
market,
they always had a dual market.
where PlayStation has always been behind in the dual market sort of stuff. They've recently been getting into the dual market, but with like
Badly.
very
Badly.
slow.
It's not gone
and-
well for them.
Well, like The Last of Us recently has not had a great PC port over. It had some
No.
huge technical issues.
No, that was horrendous.
Huge technical issues when it started to come
Good
out.
television show though.
Yeah.
Although I did I don't know. Did you know anybody who never played the game and watched the show and was astounded by? I'm not going to spoil the ending.
There's a lot of people that I know that have like maybe watched playthroughs of the game and
Yeah.
then watched it, but not
Yeah.
many that haven't
Because
watched
I
it.
mean, if you played the game,
Yeah.
you knew who the show was going to end.
Yeah.
And you were prepared for it. It's
Not
a
a lot of people would
pretty hardcore ending
Yeah.
to the show.
Yeah.
And it was kind of funny to watch the people I knew that weren't gamers. And they turned to me and goes, my one friend goes, "Did you know that this is how it ends?" I'm like, "Yeah, I played the game.
And then they're like,
Yeah.
oh,
I was ready for this. I was prepared because when I finished the game, I was like, oh my gosh."
yeah.
I had that moment. I'm like, oh wow.
Mhm.
I'm in that same zone as I'm in the group of people who finished Mass Effect and went, ouch. And then they added the other ending. I'm like, okay, I feel better now.
Yeah. But yeah, no. But they
Or
sided
Mass
with
Effect 3, I should say specifically.
yeah, but they sided with Xbox just for
I'm
the reason
surprised
of
because usually over in
numbers.
Europe, they just they don't want anybody to merge.
Mhm.
um,
But
but Sony has been. I mean, that was the key to what made the PlayStation 2, aside from being a great console.
yeah,
What made the PlayStation 2 was the exclusivity of some titles that were just great titles, great
Yeah.
games. I mean, Nintendo's always had some stuff, but
well,
they're not even in the conversation when it comes to some of this
No.
gaming stuff, which is funny because they were out front for so
well,
long.
like Xbox is also, while this has been going on, been making deals with Nintendo, Nvidia, because Nvidia does their streaming service
Yeah.
through GeForce Now.
Yeah.
And then they're talking with Nintendo for the next 10 years to release Call of Duty titles back to Nintendo consoles because they have not been on.
No, they have not.
They have not had a Call of Duty title since
The Wii?
Wii U.
Was there a Wii U
Call
one?
of Duty Ghost.
Was
I
it on
think
the
was
Wii U?
The last
Okay.
Wii U
Because
game
the only one I remember
for
was
Call
on
of Duty.
was Call of Duty for 3DS and Call of
I
Duty
remember
for
those.
Wii.
Yeah.
Those.
I remember
one of the
those.
Call of Duty. I mean, Call of
Yeah.
Duty something.
Yeah, but Wii U,
Warzone maybe.
Wii U, I think got Black Ops 2 and
Oh,
Ghost.
okay.
I think.
Yeah.
I could be wrong,
Yeah.
but those are like the last two.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think you're right.
Nintendo
Now
ones.
I still want it. So interesting.
But yeah, and then obviously, but they're making these deals so that Call of Duty can get out to more people.
Yeah.
Where there could be issues down the line if this doesn't go through.
Yeah.
But it would just
Interesting.
be as confined to Xbox and PlayStation as it has been, as of recently.
Yeah.
But they're now looking more at the future of the deal on if it would actually get to people or not. Because Xbox has also reached out to PlayStation and said, "We're going to give you, 10 years." The thing that PlayStation is saying though is that they're going to sabotage the game on PlayStation consoles.
I don't think about that.
I don't think that
hamstring the game. Nah, that wouldn't be in their best interest because that would be fodder for news so quickly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because that's the thing. I don't think that they would sabotage.
Because someone would find
that
out
at all.
100% no 100% if they hamstring the
Exactly.
game.
Yeah. And I don't think that they would do that, but
yeah,
don't know. But if anything, all they have to do is have both of them put stakes into Activision and Blizzard.
Absolutely.
And then boom, there you go. Don't worry
do
about
like
that.
a Hulu and have a bunch of people all throw their chips in a pot. Yeah.
Exactly. That's what they should
Interesting.
do. But the whole fight is Xbox is going to buy Blizzard
Activision.
and then Activision.
Yeah.
Which is the whole big deal right now. But they did. It was a miscommunication in a data sheet that the UK thing did. They skewed the number for something. I don't know exactly what it was. So they went back, redid the numbers, and never mind. It's actually not that bad. I think it was something along the lines of profit margin.
Oh, yeah.
And then they were like, oh, because they did it for insert so many amount of years.
Yeah.
And now it's not that way anymore.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's a whole other thing currently because that's been going on for almost a year now.
At least a year, yeah. So so feel free to ask us questions in chat. We'll talk about news stories as we go. We talk about gaming, we talk about vehicles, we talk about all kinds of stuff. So, in fact, I'm going to talk about so drone delivery is, first it was sort of a joke. Now it's actually really a reality. So I was there's a company called Flyby Robotics. And what they're trying to take over, or at least get a market share of, is DoorDash. So they want to do small drones. They don't have to do big drones, small drones to do your food delivery. $3 surcharge.
Okay.
Which is a lot less than some of the other entities that are charging. Because you get deliveries periodically.
Occasionally,
yeah. So, so $3. So figure, your smoothies, your salads, sushi, whatever, delivered by drone. But I did a little bit of research and I kind of found this fascinating. So drone delivery, okay. Amazon and Google and stuff like that are pushing it. So Zipline, okay, which is a company that's been around for a little while, 500,000 deliveries since 2016. 2016, by the way, 2016. Flytrex, which is another company, 21,000 deliveries by 2022, or no, in 2022, just 21,000 in 2022. So it's more and more expanding out. These drones will come in, deliver your package. Looks like Morgan's cat is on on her laptop, because I know she has a couple of cats. So that's definitely a cat chat. That's funny. We love our cat chats. So I kind of find it fascinating that I didn't realize the numbers, and I'm looking forward to the whole DoorDash thing. So truth be told, I have had no electricity more than I've had electricity in the last couple of weeks. Where I live was hit pretty hard with many of the storms, and so we went many days without electricity, and in some cases it was really hard to get around. I felt like Pac-Man, and the trees were ghosts. So I go up this way. Nope, can't go up that way. Turn around and go this way. Oh, there's another tree. Gotta go this way. Gotta go this way. So I was joking with my son that we were doing a maze, because I don't want him to get upset.
Yeah.
Because why can't we get through? So I told him we were doing a maze, and the one day I'm glad I grew up in the area where I live, because I knew every side street.
Yeah.
Because I needed to use every side street.
Yeah.
For example, up the street from me, because our road was blocked at both ends at one point, so we couldn't get out, period. There was 4 brand new telephone poles, because 4 telephone poles got taken out.
Mm-hmm.
There's still a lot of damage, and there's some people still without power. But so the DoorDash thing would be kind of nice to fly in, not have to worry about driving through the detritus and debris. I am going to jump into another story.
I think the drones get blown away.
The drones will get. Well, I'm not going to. I'm not going to order DoorDash in the middle of the windstorm. That's not going to happen. So I did want to mention in that same zone, because I'll do 2 stories and then I'll let you.
Yeah.
So where's it at? Duke Energy. So Duke Energy, which is near and dear to my heart because they're out of Pennsylvania, among other places. Duke Energy, to better serve its customers when power outages occur, they're creating a smart, self-healing power grid.
I've heard about this.
So, and they're pretty close to having it fully operational. So the problem with power right now is that they don't redirect, they don't reroute. There's no smart switches that turn. Okay, power's not getting from here to here. We can turn that off and then allow people upstream to get power.
Yeah.
There's not a lot of that in place, and this would be all kinds of smart switches that could maybe reroute power a different direction, knowing where the cut line is. All this technology exists, which is hilarious, because you and I can run a simple Fluke network tester and know where there's a cut line and a network line or a power line or a phone line or whatever. So this has existed forever.
Oh yeah.
So I'm actually kind of happy about that, because it is a huge investment, but an increase in grid. So while we're not a Duke Energy customers up here, if Duke gets it, because Duke, oddly enough, is Pennsylvania and like North Carolina and quite a different amount of states. If they get this technology, First Energy and some of those other companies are going to be like right on it,
likely.
And we do need to improve our grid. I will say that, coming from a perspective of an IT person, our grid is woefully under supported, underbuilt.
Oh yeah.
And I think it's really time for us to invest a lot into this. And literally, being a person without power because of trees, I could have rerouted some power. It would have been lovely. So just saying out there, First Energy, if you're listening, invest in smart grids. We want you to, please.
Either smart grids or start putting the lines under the ground.
Well, even at that, what was getting some of the things was the trees were uprooting, and so they were pulling up some of the concentration boxes. And then for things you can't put under the ground, we lost a big substation because a tree fell into the substation. Took it out.
Maybe start getting trees farther back from the substation.
I actually noticed that they're doing more and more cutting where they're pulling a lot of trees away from the easements.
Maybe some of the current already up ones. Maybe say, oh, I'm gonna go back and maybe trim the trees back a little bit.
Just a little bit.
Just a little bit.
Yep.
Maybe.
So Morgan did confirm that was a cat. Yep, we know that it's a cat. Cat talk.
Yes.
So, all right, up on yours. Thank you for letting me
Alright.
do two in a row.
Yes. Well, I did 2 in a row, so it's fine. It works. Let's do. I don't know. This is a simple one. Steam, which is known for their storefront for games and all that kind of stuff, will stop supporting Windows 7, 8, and 8.1 by 2024.
Okay.
So only support for Windows 10 and 11
Mhm.
after 2024 for Steam.
Yeah.
So any gamers out there that use Steam, you got to understand that it will be gone.
Yeah.
And you
Well,
won't be able to use it anymore.
won't be able to use it.
Mhm.
Well, it's funny. One of my colleagues in our chat had posted a device that she was interacting with that still ran on Windows XP embedded. So XP is still out there.
Floats
So
around
shout out
somewhere.
to XP embedded. You're still going.
You're still there.
For the longest time, XP embedded was running all of the Sheets loyalty kiosks. Every single one of them was, because they donated it to a library I was working with, and we converted them to not self checks, but like a way to check a book.
Yeah.
To basically to check the status
of the book.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like staff members could walk by and
embedded.
see if a book was checked out just readily, just walk up, scan it, and then either shelve it or deal with it. Yeah.
Deal with it at the back or wherever.
Yeah. Instead of having this was a big library. Instead of having to take things across the building, that we had these stationed up, they could literally just check the because people leave stacks and stacks of books, and sometimes you don't know if they're checked out or not.
Yeah.
So in this case, it was a quick way to just check the status of the book.
Mhm.
It also had other features for patrons. It could act as somewhat of a self check. So
that'd be cool. Then possible PlayStation handheld.
I know we both read this one. I'm a huge PSP fan.
Yeah.
Not as much of a Vita. I didn't get into the Vita.
I still think if they waited for the PSP and the Vita just a little bit longer, it would have been fine today.
Yeah.
Right? But
still an awesome
it was
handheld.
still great in the time that it came out,
Yeah.
though.
That was my first handheld since the original Game Boy. Because I bought after the fact. I didn't have a new one. I bought one several years later at a thrift shop. And that was my first handheld. And I bought a PSP, new PSP. That was my first big handheld. I'm going to buy this thing, and I loved it. I still do. I still get it out periodically and play it because I wasn't a big fan of the videos and the UMD videos. I'm like, whatever. I don't need to carry movies with me. I thought it was a cool idea, but the games and just the controls and everything, I was a huge fan.
My first handheld was an advanced Game Boy Advance.
Game Boy Advanced, yeah.
Yes, the flippable. No, the SP. Game Boy Advance SP.
Oh, those were nice little.
The flip open with the
looked like a flip phone. They were trying to go on
the flip pocket
Moto Razr flip
and then
phone.
Eventually DS came out later. But, still.
Yeah, I have
really
a DS
cool.
now too.
Yeah. But yeah, the possibility of it is it's not going to be on its own console, but PlayStation does have a built-in console connect stream sort of thing.
So it kind of feels like they're trying to target the folks who like the Switch.
Similar.
You know what I mean? So you can put the Switch in the dock, and you can use it, and then you can go around your house and just undock. Because they do that commercial for the Switch where the guy goes, I can't play my game because the kids are doing homework, and bounce somewhere else.
Yeah, it's not so. It can be used outside of the house over internet.
Okay.
But they note that the handheld is not meant for cloud streaming, so it would be a peripheral for a PS4 and PS5.
Okay.
So it would be something you can, leave the house and do.
Mm-hmm.
Because they have the app for it on the phone. So if you own a PS4 or PS5, you can remote play from wherever you're at, as long as you have a connection to internet for it.
Okay. Interesting.
I know I use it at home when I don't want to run updates and things, and I'll just turn it on. And
so remote desktop into your things to run updates.
It's essentially just a remote connect to your console.
As an IT guy, we love that, so we don't have to walk over there.
Yeah.
Interesting.
I mean, I still have to put the disc in and let it install, but other than that, it just runs, and I can
check it while eating lunch. Yeah.
So that's something, but it wouldn't just be, again, standalone console or anything. It would just be a little connection, a connection tool with some PlayStation buttons.
Interesting. So I don't know how many people saw this, Google came through, and for Google Drive, they put a limit. They said you could not have more than 5 million items in your Google Drive. Okay,
Okay.
and put a hard limit in there. And like, I have a lot of stuff. I don't have 5 million. It didn't affect me. So I thought, oh, okay, it's a limit, whatever. Maybe in 10 years or 15 years, I'm going to butt up against that limit.
And then there was the realization moment.
No, actually, it's kind of funny. A bunch of people got angry because there are people out there whose entire existence has been in there.
Yeah.
And they're prolific creators, artists, musicians, videographers, all of these people who create media that need to connect that media. Because you and I do video, and Allison, when she's here, she's our video editor, extreme. I'll do it from the 90s. She's extreme. She's going to laugh when she watches this. But that's a lot of content. And you can, easily doing video or audio if you're a musician or whatever, I could easily max out a Google Drive at 5 million easily. If I want to keep every cut, every take of everything, and for archive sakes, because here we keep all of our bloopers. We don't show them to you, but we do show them to us.
Yes.
And so there's a lot of those bloopers. But on a rare moment, because Google rarely goes back on their decisions. You figure when they kill off something, it's dead. They don't go back.
A bunch of their early startup projects, you see how many of those they kill?
Google Wave.
So quick.
Google Wave. The precursor to YouTube, Google Video.
Mm-hmm.
They're very. I mean, when Google kills something, there's no remorse. They went back. They said, okay, we're wrong.
Yeah,
we're wrong.
Yeah, because the users
have no limit. Go do your thing. We love you. Please leave us alone.
Yeah.
It was fascinating because it's a rare turnabout for Google. But I did find it interesting because originally when I watched, I saw news come through, I'm like, okay, I'm going to build up to that in a couple of years. And then I really started thinking about it. And I see the people who are complaining. I'm thinking, because we store our video a different way here. But if we did, all the video work we've done, and all of the takes, all of the audio, all of the files that go with it, we could butt up against that in a year or two.
Oh yeah,
without question. We store video in about 16 terabytes of storage right now. It's not the whole 16 terabytes. That's the space we keep it in. But yeah, I'm already looking at the lifespan of that 16 terabytes going, okay, at some point we're going to hit this because it's raw video and stuff. So, yeah. Want me to do another one? Or you want to do the framework?
I can talk about framework.
Why don't you talk about framework?
I feel like
both of us want to talk about framework.
Yeah, so
Morgan will love framework. If you're still watching, Morgan, check out framework. You're going to love this.
So you know how people build PCs?
Yes.
Right?
Build your own.
Get all the parts.
I've been doing it for years.
Boom, you're done.
I was a computer shopper guy from the beginning.
Whatever you wanted, you dreaded the day you had to buy a laptop because you just knew.
Yeah, you knew you were stuck.
You knew it was gonna be.
Yep.
Eventually, you just toss it again because you.
Yep.
Never get to use it again because it's too old.
Exactly. Hey, shout out to Deb K, just joined in. So hey, and Paige, thank you for joining in.
But imagine a laptop.
All right.
That you can upgrade.
Yeah. Not just memory.
Running. Yeah, not just memory.
Okay.
The entire motherboard with a new CPU.
So just like we would switch out on a regular PC, we're going to switch to the motherboard.
But yet, if you wanted to transfer some stuff over, you could.
Yeah.
Because if the memory still works,
keep the memory.
Still the same. Keep the memory.
Not different than how we mod out PCs.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So framework.
Graphics card?
Not yet.
Okay.
They're working on that.
All right.
But Framework is a company that is working on to make your laptop an easy upgrade for later. So taking that in consideration, you have a multitude of different open. Also, most of this stuff is open source, by the way.
Oh yeah, it's gonna have to be. It's gonna have to be.
Well, yeah, but all of it's open source.
Yeah.
All the boards, all of the anything that they're working on, any of their connectors, all open source. You can go on. You can go on there and look at their PCB outlines and everything else.
Yeah.
And they're working on making your laptop the next upgradable thing.
And I do like this idea. I'm kind of fascinated by it because, I've been building PCs my entire life. There's no question about that. Been building, creating PCs. I used to build them for people all the time. That was
Yeah.
my side hustle in college. I would make PCs. I was
Yeah.
trying to be the next Michael Dell. And if any of my friends watch, a bunch of us used to all like literally work on PCs like in between classes and build PCs for people. I like this because laptop was that end, like that wall you couldn't get into. You could put in a new drive, a new hard drive. You could put in memory. Sometimes rare you could
even
pop in a processor.
Even sometimes it was possibly you could do memory.
Yeah.
Not all the time.
Yeah, usually they had like, here's your open memory slot. You either put something in there or you end up, most of the time it was always there's one stick in there, and to upgrade you take the one stick out, you put two sticks in.
Now see, some laptops now are just one slot. You're screwed with if you want to try to do two sticks. It's one stick only, and that's all you have. So
I like the fact that Framework is kind of extensible. I do like that. I am somewhat concerned on at what point do we get brand names?
Yes. Well, I mean, obviously AMD and Intel are already here.
Well, yeah, processor.
AMD is already there. Well, AMD actually came late. Intel was the first.
That's interesting because usually AMD is the one out the gate.
Yeah, usually. But no, AMD was a little bit slow to catch on to this one.
Interesting.
But they are working on possibly bringing graphics cards, which with the addition of AMD, at some point, their Radeon brand of graphics will be coming as full-size cards, not just the little integrated ones inside the processor. Which that's another thing. You remember when Dell tried to do the whole plug in your graphics card to the laptop thing?
Anybody else out there remember that?
Yes.
There's a good reason why most of you have no idea what we're talking about.
Exactly.
It failed so bad.
Well, also AMD Dell also tried doing here's a full-on processor within a laptop so you can swap it out.
Yeah.
But then realized that
the heat
of a full size, which doesn't work very well.
I did a demo once where I cooked an egg on a P4.
Yep.
With no heat sink. I did overclock it, but I cooked it. I did the demo. I made a little pan out of tinfoil, and I cracked an egg into it and cooked the egg and ate the egg as part of the demo. Yeah, because it was my point of telling you, please, please, please clean your PC.
Yes.
That was literally the reason I did it, and it was shock and awe. That was the whole point of it.
Yeah. So essentially, I mean, the main purchase is the main board.
Yeah.
Which has the processor and then the slots for the RAM, everything else, the storage. But you only have to buy the board.
Mm-hmm.
You can purchase the laptop if you want to. You don't have to.
Yeah.
You can put it in a case.
Yeah.
You can 3D print a case.
Yes.
And just use it as a little desktop until you can actually afford the.
I could see libraries using this technology to build real thin card catalogs.
Mm-hmm. But essentially, what they're doing is that you can bring your own. You can go to a Micro Center or a Best Buy and buy laptop memory.
Yeah.
If it's on sale, you can buy it as long as it's compatible.
Put it
in there.
Yeah.
And there's no restriction to it.
Yeah.
And then, like I said, since they're working on graphics cards, and it's not just you buy the chip and it plugs in somewhere.
Yeah. No.
It's
going to be a lot more of that. Yeah. Ooh.
It's hot swappable. So you could, if you really wanted to have a NVIDIA graphics card, and then really jump off and just be like, all right, I feel like doing a Radeon day, swap in a Radeon.
Well, I could also see it
or even like a work or like a test, not a test bench. Well, I guess test bench.
Yeah.
But also like the what are the Quatero video cards.
That's what I got in mind right now.
And things like you want to go from gaming to video production.
Yeah, that's what I got my laptop.
Or producing 3D models and things. You know, it's.
But I can also see that as like, okay, at home, I throw in the heavy gaming card because I'm going to play games.
Yeah.
And
then you go to work.
Traveling at work, I drop in a regular card because I'm not going to be doing gaming.
And it would be
less power draw and keep my laptop running longer. See, that's kind of brilliant, actually.
Yeah. So, I mean, the occasional, you have to buy a new, main board with a new processor on it. But
that's literally what you do when you build your own PC.
Right? Yeah. Like occasionally you have to swap out the motherboard and then maybe buy memory.
My case and my peripherals and stuff outlasted my motherboard usually 2 or 3 times.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes my memory switched from board to board, graphics card switch from board to board, sound card switch from
Yeah.
board to board.
Yeah, but so at some point they'll be adding a new version of the laptop, which is not necessarily gaming oriented completely, but
Mhm.
they are pushing it that way.
And I do like that these are also Chromebook compatible,
Chrome OS,
Windows,
not
and
obviously not Mac,
not
yet.
not yet.
not yet.
And of course Linux.
Yeah,
Like I
which-
know it's an
and
Ubuntu flavored laptop.
You can it's kind of like Dell, how they set it up to where you can buy it, you can get Ubuntu
Yeah.
if you really want to, and it's free, or you can just bring in your own sort of thing, and that's what Framework is kind of working with.
Yeah.
Which I find kind of interesting. But also the thing with the GPU spot where you can put the GPU into.
Yeah.
They're also talking about extendable batteries.
That would be
So
nice.
more battery.
Yeah.
They actually also released a battery to replace the old battery if you wanted more time with the battery.
Yeah.
So which was kind of cool. But they're talking maybe more expandable storage
Mhm.
for later. So like M.2s and
Yeah.
SATA drives and
Yeah.
things. They're talking about making it all compatible through this little. They call
I know
a
you
lot
can't
of
see it.
people.
He's pointing on it.
I know
It's like a
but lot of
bus
people-
bar on the back.
Yeah, a lot of people call it the butt.
Yeah, it's the back. It's
Um,
the back end of the
yeah.
thing.
But literally, you take off one butt, put in another,
Yeah.
and then you replace it.
Yeah.
I think they're even talking about like cooling expansion.
Someone used to
stuff
do
like
that where
too.
it had like an interchangeable kind of like back plate. Yeah.
It's essentially what
um,
Framework is pushing for.
Yeah.
in
It's
this.
actually just kind of smart to do that.
So it would be
Because that's the best place to remove and
Exactly.
add and do all
yeah,
that
it would just
stuff.
be
Yeah.
hot swapping a graphics
Yep.
card, and then if you really need the storage later, swap it in with a storage thing, or swap it
Yeah.
in with an extra cooler, or like
Be nice.
more fans for cooling and things.
Yep.
So it's
Yeah.
kind of a really cool concept, and the community is huge into
I just
working
waved a
on
person
custom
who joined
things.
on.
yeah.
There's people are joining
But
on.
yeah, it's really interesting to see this, and also they have a marketplace now where you can actually sell old modules and things
That's
for
fascinating.
Framework laptops. So if
Yeah.
you don't want to buy brand new,
Like an
you can buy
eBay swap
used. Yeah,
or
it's kind of
Facebook
like a
Marketplace.
Facebook Marketplace, but for Framework stuff.
Yeah, that's
And
pretty sweet.
like even like custom stuff, they're allowing people to sell like custom
Built?
Framework stuff. Yeah,
Which is terrifying in some respects.
it is.
Yeah. Because think Facebook Marketplace
I
and
know.
think crafts and custom.
Yeah, I
Could
know.
be terrifying.
It could be terrifying, but sometimes Framework will even put it into their own
Yep.
stuff. So maybe you can wait a little bit for Framework to pull up on that. But
So we're coming up on 8 o'clock, but we did get
Exactly.
started a little bit late. So you want to go a little bit longer?
yeah, we go a little bit longer.
Do another story
Um,
too? Because I've got another story here.
You do your story.
Yep.
Since
So I'm going to try to
since I
pronounce
rambled
this
on with
company
Framework.
because I love doing my science stories, but I hate trying to pronounce their names. Amogy, Amogy, Amogy.
Okay.
So I don't know how many of you know that aside from regular, hydrocarbons which we burn, ammonia is combustible, and in certain instances very combustible. But for conventional, it takes a lot of ability to make it combust. It takes a lot to make it. It's
Yeah.
a slow combustor. But there's a company, and it's Amogy, I think, Green Ammonia, that they've already rolled out ammonia-fueled tractors, which makes sense because farms always have ammonia for
Yeah.
fertilizer. Ammonia-fueled tractors and an ammonia-fueled semi-truck. They're a Brooklyn company, so it's U.S. Brooklyn company, and they're now working on a 1957 tugboat to make it the first ammonia-powered ship. Now, at first I thought, okay, this is company kind of getting started. Then I started looking. Merrick and all those big shipping container companies are all trying to switch to ammonia by 2050.
Oh, okay.
So it's not just a little thing. It is a big thing. So it's almost like a 2-cycle engine too. So I know 2-cycle engines in and out. It works like a 2-cycle engine.
Mhm.
It's kind of fascinating. But with ammonia, while ammonia is corrosive in some instances and toxic, they're finding ways to make it less so in many ways. Because ammonia is still an organic compound.
Yeah.
When brass tacks, it's still an organic compound. And so when it's consumed, it produces water and nitrogen and stuff that just goes right back into the air. So technically a green company. And to produce it, it's easily produced under green conditions. So theoretically, all of those giant shipping fleets would be powered by tanks full of ammonia that they could be making on their route from seawater. Because there's actually a lot of ammonia potential
Yeah.
in seawater. And I mean, our air is actually less oxygen and more nitrogen than it is. It's more nitrogen than oxygen. That's
Yeah.
what air is. That's why when you dive,
Yeah.
the bends, that's nitrogen escaping from the air in your
Yeah.
blood and building up and causing grief. So it's kind of fascinating to follow this whole thing with ammonia.
Mhm.
So it may not be gasoline, it may not be solar, it may not be battery, it may
Yeah.
be I can't think of an ammonia cleanser. They're escaping me right now, but like your bottle of ammonia cleanser, good. Or we'll go with the basic. I'll call it out. All of my Greek friends, Windex, Windex, my friends. You could power your car on Windex.
Oh my.
Shout out to some of my Greek friends because I did learn that that mention in my big fat Greek wedding with the Windex, that is a thing.
Yeah.
That is a thing.
Yeah, I'm still a little
So.
skeptical on electric currently.
Currently.
Yeah, currently.
Well, there was a great debate in my house. So if I had an electric car and my power's out for 4 or 5 days,
yeah.
how
are you getting anywhere?
Yeah, I know, because I have 2 generators. Both of them had mechanical issues.
Mhm.
I got one fixed for one power outage. It died. I got the other one fixed for the other power outage. So technically, I have one still running. Knock on wood. The other one
Yeah.
I've got to get. I need some help getting repaired. I need a friend who does small engines.
Mhm.
That's going to help me out with that.
Yeah, but it's just the range of batteries and going with laptops and phones. And
Oh,
things,
yeah.
battery degradation is not great at all.
No.
Um,
And temperature. I mean, leave your
Exactly.
laptop in the car.
I mean, Tesla
in
has
0 degrees
kind
a
of
couple
worked
times.
on the whole here's how much battery you don't have because
Yeah.
it's cold or it's hot or
It's
something
yeah.
like that. Another thing is heat with
Yeah, heat
electric
is bad.
cars.
Heat is bad. Heat is
'cause,
really bad.
you
Yeah,
know,
there's that whole boom thing.
Yeah, the
Yeah,
whole
we're
boom
not a
thing and
big fan of the
heat,
boom
yeah.
thing. Yeah, not a fan of the boom thing.
That's like the only thing I don't like about batteries.
Yeah, being a fan of
But
Top
I'm
Gear
no friend,
and
I'm no
watching.
friend of hydrogen either. But
Well, hydrogen is a great boom. That's Hindenburg. That's Hindenburg boom.
But there's hydrogen cars
Yeah.
now.
Yeah,
because
yeah.
Toyota is using it as a way.
I
to do
passed
cars.
a natural gas fueling station.
Mhm. Well, there's a lot of
For the
room
longest
natural
time, a
gas, too.
CNG, because there's UPS, FedEx, our local bus, Lake Tran,
Yep.
Schwan. I think I said that right. The Schwan, the food delivery place.
Okay. Yeah,
So it
yeah,
looks
yeah,
like
yeah.
Swan, but it's the
Yeah.
Schwan
Yeah. I know
as
what you're
natural
talking about.
gas.
Yeah.
All of those places are near this one CNG station. Just recently, I would say in the last month, it went from $1.99 to
Mhm.
$2.10.
Oh wow.
$2.10 is still what they're running.
Yeah.
I think it might be liters. I can't remember. Since I don't have
I
one.
don't
I've never
remember.
gotten close to it. Yeah. So tell me about this one because you and I have
yes.
loved this one so far.
So there was this really big operation.
Really big sting.
Well, yeah, really big sting operation done through the internet called Operation Cookie Monster.
Yeah,
I don't
gotta
know why I
love
almost
it.
said Project Cookie Monster, but no, Operation Cookie Monster. So essentially, the website that they seized was a personal information site that sold account information for
Yeah.
some websites that got hacked in the past.
Yeah,
and all that
basically a
kind of stuff.
reseller of people's personal information, things
Exactly.
like that. Yeah.
And so a coalition of the FBI and a bunch of
Europol,
Canada and
I see
everywhere
Canada.
else.
I see Poland.
European Union.
European Union. Well, that's Europol. Polski. Yeah, basically all the big name players
Yes.
in Europe, America, North America, and Eastern Europe, which is
Yes.
usually where a lot of the bad stuff happens.
Yeah. So
No offense to Eastern Europe. I'm not knocking Eastern Europe, but it just happens to be a hotbed of this black market
Yeah.
stuff.
But yeah, so
yeah.
they took action and they took down one of the bigger sites. And they even have a website now that says IHaveBeenPwned.com.
That's ironic.
I know.
That's ironic. So you go on there and see
essentially
how
you go in there,
your
you
accounts
type
have
in
been.
because it asks you for type in your phone number and or email, and it will actually tell you what sites that your information has been stolen off of. which is kind of fun. I kind of find it interesting.
Yeah. So, hey, friends that are watching, it has been the URL is have been pwned.com. It may
Yes.
be worth going in there, dropping in
Yeah, just
your
occasionally checking.
your cell phone, your email addresses, things like that, just to see where your data happens to be. Who has used it? Who has spoofed? I mean, you and I both have email addresses that have been spoofed in our lifetime.
Oh yeah.
You know, to pretend to be someone else and things like that. I mean, if you're online, that happens. It's just a given. I look up my phone periodically and stuff like that. I usually do a data search on myself once a year. I mean, I've had identity theft happen to me as an IT person, not by my own fault, by the way. The state of Ohio had an oops, and my information got out because of a state agency,
Ooh.
not a fault of my own.
No, that's
which
not
actually,
fun.
most people, it's not your fault. It's somebody else's fault who dropped the
I
ball,
know
who should be doing better.
One of the things on my list was Twitter, because Twitter got hacked. That long time.
Oh
ago.
yeah, I had an account on.
I had an account on Twitter that got information stolen. So that was like one of them. And then there was a few like your game places and stuff
my Adobe stuff, because of course we used Adobe for ebooks here, but also I used Adobe because I had Creative Cloud and things like that. Yeah, my Adobe information got out, Twitter. But yeah, most of my identity theft actually happened because of a breach at this somewhere in Ohio.
Majority of
Ohio
my stuff
employee
was just
records.
Small companies.
Yeah,
mine was like small company stuff.
Yeah.
So that would be a site to check and just see, maybe if your information got out or not, because it will tell you have not been.
Yeah.
Or you have.
Yeah, because there's companies you can pay for this, and you don't really have to. I'm not a proponent of those entities you can pay for that then try to lock down your personal information. Because in all honesty, it's all stuff you can do yourself with a little bit of time and effort. You can check your credit history. You can lock down your bank accounts. You can use temporary credit card numbers. Most banks now can issue you a temporary credit card number that you use for an online purchase that only really will live for that online purchase. So it's almost like using a gift card based on your own checking or debit account. There's so much you can do on your own that it's a little funny. There's companies that are like $30 a month, we do this, and they really don't do much for $30 a month. In reality, they do stuff that you can do on your own. So I think maybe one more story, and then let's see. What do I want to do? Yes, I still use paper. You know what? I think what I will do the University of Manchester. So our friends at the University of Manchester have developed a building material specifically for Mars. And if you have read, as a good library person, The Martian, or watched the movie as a good video person, it is made with potato starch, some salt, and dirt from Mars. So, but here's the fascinating thing. It's actually twice as strong as traditional concrete. Okay. So potato starch, salt, which together makes lovely dipping sauce, and some Martian dirt, which Martian dirt is, we can simulate here because there's places on Earth that actually have similar concretions and stuff. So yeah, University of Manchester, and it's stronger than concrete because we're still trying to re-engineer Roman concrete, which they found part of the reason that it's so strong is actually it's self-healing, and it's self-healing because they use salt. They use saltwater, seawater, and the minerals and stuff when it gets wet. So if there's a crack and it gets wet, it reactivates itself and makes fresh, sticky concrete. Beautiful concept. So the Romans were well ahead. But yeah, Martian concrete. I don't know why we're not building things on a Martian concrete on Earth right now. Being the good Irish person I am, we can use potatoes for awesome things. So let's build some concrete with potatoes. So I think I'm going to go out with that story. I'm going to go out with potatoes as the good Irish boy that I am. So thank you all for watching. We appreciate you every time you tune in. We appreciate always when you ask us questions. Even feel free to remember to ask us questions after the fact. Hey, there's a holiday weekend coming up. I want you guys to have a wonderful, safe, and fun holiday. And look forward to seeing you next month. Don't forget, this also becomes a podcast. So you can listen to it later on all of your favorite podcast locations. At the bottom, we have the scroll that tells you where you can find us online. Hey, follow us on all of our social media, whichever one you use. You'll find a lot of useful things, what's going on at the library, tidbits of information. Charlie's great videos on some of the equipment we have here. I've been doing a series of videos on some of the things you can borrow from here. So again, thank you. Have a wonderful day.
Yes. Thank you. Have a good one.
All right. And the stream.